And then I wound up continuing my education and doing like NLP and all that. Yeah.
You're a lot
Can
more
I tell you that
similar.
I'm always, I'll just be honest with you, I'm always skeptical of dating coaches.
Me too.
So
Are you kidding?
So I built, so
They suck. A
I've
lot
been
of
on
them.
the opposite- so-
Sorry, there's a lot of great ones.
So if I was, let's say I woke up tomorrow, right, meteorite hit my house and went through the wife, she's dead, right?
Yeah.
I'm single with my kids tomorrow. I wouldn't have a fucking clue about the modern dating market, and I wouldn't give a shit. I would literally
Right.
just give
Wow.
up. I'm fine with that. Live
Yeah.
the rest of my life in isolation on a mountaintop somewhere and just enjoy the shit out of it. I'm fine with that.
Honestly,
right?
sounds great.
But here's the thing: is like when I talk to the dating coaches, it
Yeah.
seems very scammy to me.
Yes.
It seems very much like they fluff their resume for how many success stories they've really had. It seems like they kind of fluff their experiences. And here's what I mean by this. My dad gave me a great piece of advice when I was 14 years old. He said, never take financial advice from someone who's broke.
Right.
So if you're talking about dating coaches, should people take advice from single dating coaches?
Yeah, it's dating. I'm dating. I'm in the pool. But I
Yeah,
also
no,
have
know.
amazing relationships.
I get that, but like, doesn't that follow the same logic of like, don't take financial advice from people
Sure.
who aren't rich?
But
right?
you answered it. Would you take dating advice from someone who's dating? You know, who's in it, who sees it, but who's also had good.
Well, I would
but
take-
also, you're someone that discerns. Like, you're someone that, like, for you personally,
Yeah.
you might not need it because you're reading people. You are an analyst.
Yeah, but
you're not going to be as.
But the marriage aspect shows that you were successful in the dating, right?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, yeah, a lot
That
of my clients
shows
get
like
married.
I was just like the $1 million shows that you were successful in the
Yes.
financial market.
Yeah.
So it's like when you say, "Well, I'm in the dating market. I'm successful at dating." It's like,
Yeah.
what's the prize of dating, though? Isn't it marriage? Is that
Some of
supposed to
them
generally be the prize?
Well, what happens with a lot of them is, and I get this a lot. So I'll have a program that's called From Like Toxic to Triumph, and I do career as well too. Like I do have multiple careers, and I have success in there. So I do get to pass that on. But the main thing is also like what I help a lot with is stop dating the toxic ones, the ones that you actually don't like. You know, so
like all of them.
yeah, right. So a lot of them stay single for a while. No.
You're like a financial advisor,
No.
but for love and relationships.
Yeah, and we do career as well too. We do. I get to unblock in there.
Like, so I read, and again, this is my studies, right? So you take it with a grain of salt, as well you should. But some data is better than others, that you can judge better than others. Like if it comes from a dating website, it's usually fairly good. It's not great, but it's usually fairly good. There's less bias, things like this. But one thing is like there used to be dating placement agencies. So what they would do, and they still exist.
still-
right?
yeah, they still exist.
Yeah, is that they would just like link people up for dates, right? And then let the chips fall where they may. When it came to the track record of those agencies versus straight dating coaches, those agencies had a way better track record because what they were doing is putting people with people with people with people.
Yes.
And it's like it's the natural course that if you run into more people, your chances for success increase versus decrease, right?
So they come to me when they go to those pools, but they keep picking the ones that don't work out. Then we find out why you're picking, this person over here versus if you actually want a quality woman who you're aligned with, who you would get married to, but yet you keep dating the ones that are, having good times with the island boys. Like why do you keep getting around those? So we identify why are you around those women that are in those parties versus if you want a quality woman, where would you go? And then I could point him back to like, well, go to this dating pool or go to this one or do this one or tweak your bio this way, you know?
You think men or women are better at dating coaching for men?
I think both, honestly. I think as long as you know what you're doing and you care, because
Do you think men or women would be better dating coaches for women?
Again, I mean, all right, look, for me personally, if it's a guy and he's wanting advice on a woman, we read women a little bit faster. But for me, like, there are a couple of my girlfriends that I'll go to because they speak dude, and I'll go to them. They give it to me straight. There's no fluff. But if I'm dating someone or if I have questions about it, because I have my own blind sides, right? I have my own like things that'll come up. I'm gonna go to a guy because guys, you guys do read men a lot faster. You think it, you are in it. So I typically I do like that, but I'll go to both and hear like what they both have to say. But
So I mean, it stands to reason to you that men know men better, women know women better.
Yeah, I can't say that like as a complete thing because you know you can read women and there's women that can read
there's
men.
an interesting phenomenon here that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
This is why I asked.
Yeah. What are you setting me up
So,
for?
well, I'm not even setting you up. It's just this is a trend that I see a lot. If I ask a female dating coach, and they answer both ways, right? Usually, female dating coaches will actually say women are just better to go to, period, when it comes to dating coaching because. The advice for women, it's better, and then the advice you get from men, they don't, it's not as good, right? They'll just kind of phrase it this way.
Yeah.
Now, there's some who, like you, will say, well, you should go to men, right, if you're a woman, because they're going to read men better.
Absolutely.
Or you should go to a woman if you're a man, because they're going to read women better, right? But here's the problem that comes up, is that women are way worse at holding elongated relationships with each other than men are with each other.
With friendships?
Friendships.
So what does that have to do with relationships?
Well, that's what's interesting, right? It's like everything, all of these aspects are interpersonal. So it just means interpersonal dynamics, right?
Correct. Yeah,
so
I love that.
A friendship is still it's an interpersonal dynamic.
Yeah.
And friendships actually take, in some cases, more work than a relationship.
My longest right now, I just messaged with her over 20 years.
Right. But what I'm saying is like men.
But I agree with that. I think that you should look at what are your relationships.
But if men do generally better in interpersonal relationships than women do, shouldn't men and women both go to men for relationship advice?
I think it just depends on the person.
They're better interpersonal relationships with women and men for friendships.
I mean, we're not going to go down on the street and just grab any man and be like, help me with my dating advice. Like, I think it just depends on, if the guy's good, he's good. If the girl's good, she's good.
Yeah.
But again, you're going to be able to read them and just read them, and hopefully they're not full of crap.
I go to my girlfriends, my friends who are female, for more emotional, like social advice. Not that we are not intellectual, because we are. But if I was having a relationship issue, especially since I date girls mostly, then I would maybe go to like guy friends or something like that for more like analytical advice. Like I feel like y'all see it from that. More, you said primal earlier. I'm going to use that phrase, but because it kind of fits, but not really. But I feel like men see the world and women and relationships for more of that like primal thing, like how do I mate, how do I provide those things, and then women see it more from like that emotional, like how do I make sure I have a loving partner, how do I find a supporting partner, things like that. So I think again we just go, for me it goes back to love and dating is uncalculable.
So I think that
what are you looking for?
One of the best piece of advice is in modernity for men, right?
Yep.
And you can love this or hate this, is that generally speaking, taking advice from women about anything is a terrible idea. Basically, always a terrible idea, and it's almost,
what women are you around? Who hurt you?
See what I mean? Like that, like the feminist comes out right away, right? So who hurt you? The idea of who hurt you comes down to your blanket idea, your psychological training of trauma, right? You assume that there must be some trauma. There's not trauma. It's just pattern recognition.
No, but it'd be your pattern recognition.
Yeah,
everyone's got a different pattern.
But here's the thing, right?
Because you do have a lot of guys that, like, if they grew up with a lot of women, then they actually do tend to go towards more women. And if they had like but if they had bad relationship, like I have a lot of guys that if they had abuse from men or bullying from men, they actually don't trust the men.
You go immediately to a trauma analysis rather than a logical analysis.
That would be logical. That would be logic.
No.
Logic. 1 + 1 = 2. If my friend group of men is mean and I go to them and they give me bad advice, then I'm not going to go to them. That's logic. That's 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah. Well, hang on. There's a distinction when you use a trauma analysis. Meaning, the very first thing you said to me is, who hurt you?
Well, it's not the first thing. I think we've already an hour in.
The second I said something you disagree with, it was who hurt. Now you'll find this trend with women, right? The second you say you make a claim that they think is effective, women as a category, instant trauma response. Must be trauma. Who hurt you?
There's that
what happened to you?
Emotional.
What is this thing that triggered this? Right? And it's like. Actually, there doesn't always have to be a thing. In fact, there most often isn't. You can just use logic and reason to assess the situations around you based around the social relationships people have and determine that women usually give really fucking bad advice, especially to each other. But men, generally speaking, especially older men, tend to give really good advice, and they usually tend to solicit it, right, only when you're asked them for it, and it's usually pretty good. Women often will give advice nobody fucking asked for, right? Nobody asked for it, they don't care about it, but they can't wait to give it to you. So it's like, what I see with the pattern is that generally speaking, women give terrible advice to women and men tend to give, especially if they're older men, fairly good advice to the people who ask them for advice. That's just what I see as a trend. So if I see that as a trend, of course, my logical brain says most men and women probably shouldn't go towards women for advice. They probably just shouldn't do that. It's probably not a good idea.